He's seen things in practice that would make me shat my pants.
Larry Johnson,
Right.
grandmama.
Larry Johnson, 6'6". He looks like an uncle playing against his younger sibling on a Nerf hoop. The way he was around the rim, just laying it up like it was nothing. Like
How
it
about
was
prime
and I'm like,
grandmama too?
yeah, he was incredible, man.
It's another Sunday. March means March Madness. March means it is some of the best times to be alive. It's my favorite month outside of Christmas, which is December. It's March. Welcome, Juan. Welcome, Sean. Sean Kilgore Watkins back in the house.
Kilgore is crazy.
Guys, how was your week, Juan? How was your week? How you doing?
Good. I mean, just busy. Playing that stock market was pretty good. Oh man, that AMD. I don't know if anybody plays the stock market. AMD, when it tanked, I made a lot of money on the way down.
If you took the short on AMD, you were swimming in it.
Oh yeah, it was printing out like an ATM.
Sean, how was your week, brother?
Man, it was good. It was good. Just maintaining, doing what I do.
Well, that's
So all good.
the new American way. The new American way is to act like everything's normal while everything's falling apart, while still loving your country. It's
Facts.
a hard thing to do. One thing I wanted to talk about before we talk about our three topics today, guys. Our three topics today are Tiger Woods, the cost of an NCAA championship, and the women's CBA agreement. But before we get to that, I want to talk about our inner voice as human beings, because I found an interesting thing this week. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about our inner voices, how our self-talk and how we talk to ourselves. And I came to the realization that my inner voice is a thug from Brooklyn. And I had no idea, because this is how I talk outwardly. But in my head, the guy in my mind is saying stuff like, hey, yo, get that shit off, son. Yo, go get it. They don't care. They don't like you. Go get it. Like that's my inner voice. And I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, is your inner voice the same as your exterior voice, or is it similar, or is it something different? Juan, do you think it's the same, or is it different for you?
I do get a different voice sometimes, only when I'm at the gym and I gotta push, that extra rep. I always get the voice of my old high school soccer coach. That's what I get. The Juan, one more, Juan, give me one more. And it's like, and then it just that's the coaches. I'm telling you, when you grew up with coaches that that really made the difference, it stays with you. I really realized that, and that's one of my inner voices is my old high school soccer coach.
Don't you find it interesting that your inner voice is different from your exterior voice, right? Isn't that interesting to you? That it's not the same?
Yeah, it isn't. I mean, it depends on certain situations. Sometimes I feel like, when I'm analyzing, then yeah, I hear my own voice. But
Mhm.
other than that, if it's like, something like I got to give it just that extra 10% or something, I'm hearing something different.
So it's based on what you're going through at the moment.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Sean, your inner voice, I mean, do you always sound like a Quiet Storm radio DJ host to yourself, or
No, so I would venture to say for me, I'm a little different. I have two inner voices.
Ooh,
So and one has a carnal side to it, which is very like I hate to say maybe evil in nature.
okay.
Like go get it, do what you need, yeah, do whatever it takes, get it out the way. Like you said, like you said, son, that's your New York background. For me, I grew up in South Central, so go get it, cuz that's that type of deal. So and then the other side is the spiritual. Like there's consequences, young sir. So let's think this through. So that's what happens with me. I have both a carnal and a spiritual voice inside that hey, let's think these things through. No, let's go do this. And so they're fighting. So voices in my head, if you will.
So yours
So
is
that's
more
what.
like the song "These Voices" with Dr. Dre and Eminem, where you
Yes.
have this evil side and you do have this, yo, like let's think of a better way. That's really
Right.
interesting, because my external voice also serves as my voice of reason. So it's the same voice, right? But
Right.
I do have this little guy on the end that's super gully. right? And
Yeah.
nobody, I realized in talking with my friend, I was like, yo, did no one realizes that no one hears him but me? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yo, listen, these kids is trying to end you, son. Go get this money, kid. You know what I mean? Buy it. Who cares?
Right.
I don't fucking care. Go get it. Like that,
That's great.
right? And to your point, Sean, like it's opposite from the good guy. That voice was also part of my basketball identity as well. Inside, like the chip on my shoulder voice was also that same voice.
Right.
But I just found that
Mhm.
interesting that that's not someone other people can hear, Juan. That's just for you, right?
Yes,
Right.
it is, but it either gives you motivation or it can caution you about something. Like you can have this weird feeling in your body that something's just not right or something that's feeling right. If the inner voice is not telling you, it's signaling you in some way. And as long as you listen, you'll probably be all right, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a gift and a curse, right? Sometimes your inner voice is a red flag, and sometimes it's something you have to quiet. I just thought that was really interesting that my inner voice is so far from this, private school voice that you guys hear most of the time. It's not that at all. He's a he's a monster. He's not this.
Although there
Absolutely.
is a
I
bad
This
voice out there too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
Let's say
I,
if your
trust me,
judgment if your
I have
judgment
that.
isn't great, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, guys, it's been a heck of a week in sports. We've had obviously March Madness. I'm not going to go into that because, duh, you guys are all watching March Madness if you're listening to this cast. But we had the Tiger Woods situation. We still are dealing with what it means to be an NCAA champion for the men's side, and we're looking at the details of the CBA. So let's start with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was looking to get back into golf after being off for some time. News of his rollover accident hit the airwaves like a napalm bomb, and that's all everyone's talking about. We're seeing the memes of the Tiger Woods golf challenge with him drinking, driving, and golfing. Some think it's funny. I don't think it's that funny. I do think there's a part of this that really is missing the human side of barbiturate addiction and painkiller addiction that a lot of athletes deal with, especially in football. Juan, we're going to lead off with you. What was your first thoughts of this with Tiger Woods? Because rollover accidents don't happen this often without there being a problem.
Yeah, first thing is just like I don't like this for Tiger Woods. This is just after kind of, not being on the news for a lot of the other things other than golf and for this to happen. I mean, he was recently participating in the TGL, trying to prepare for the Masters. Is what was rumored in 2 weeks that he was going to be able to participate. There hasn't been anything official yet, but this occurrence for whatever reason, this happened I think in midday, and
Yeah.
he was speeding in Miami, and it's just unfortunate that he is going through another one of these outside events that is just negative to his reputation and to his character. And then once again we have to be discussing, where is there a real problem here again?
Yeah.
So that's the tough part for me, especially when it comes to painkillers, because his body's a wreck. You got to understand, he went through back surgery, the torn knee that he suffered through the Navy. What was it? The Navy SEAL training that he wanted to go through, and it's wrecked his body. I think his body is basically betraying him as we speak, and it's getting worse and worse. And I don't know how many painkillers you can take to just not feel any pain on a daily basis. I cannot, thank God that I don't go through any of those things, because I can't even imagine the pain that he could be feeling in his body, that he's got to be doing these things.
Yeah. The problem with painkillers is that your body ends up building up a tolerance. A lot of people don't talk about that. Sean, Tiger Woods has been involved in 4 car accidents between 2009 and 2026. And 2 rollover accidents. I did an IG post. I said your lifetime over under on rollover accidents is 1. If you have more than that, there's probably something wrong. I want to know your thoughts on this. And I mean, you've been around a lot of high end athletes. What do you think about this and the painkiller situation?
We love Tiger Woods. He's so dominant in the golf game, and it really just goes to show you, it's a cautionary tale of the superior athlete being on top and then losing a lot of that machismo, that persona that he's had, and then trying to get it back. It's tough. Every athlete goes through that. Father Time is undefeated, and then all the stuff that he's put through put his body through to try to get back. It's like his body's worsening, so he's trying to medicate with these things to try to get back, and it's sad, but it's a cautionary tale to athletes. Our bodies, we can't do that for an extended period of time. Put our bodies through that type of twisting and turning
Even
and
something low
and
impact
movement.
like golf. Yeah.
Yeah, even well, golf. People. If you talk to golfers that have golfed for years, I'd be willing to bet a lot of them had hip replacements
Yeah.
because the torque and the turn that they have to do to hit a golf ball consistently for years. Yeah, their body, yeah, that stuff wears out. So you're looking at a guy who was hitting the ball farther than anybody for years, and to put that type of strain on his body is just really it's showing its ugly head.
Yeah.
But he is the ultimate competitor and wants to be back in that realm, even as I'm not sure how old he is, but he's got to be in his 50s. Am I right?
Early
Or
50s, I believe.
um,
Yeah,
Uh,
50 or
yeah,
close to 50. Yeah.
yeah, 50, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still trying to compete in this game, and don't get me wrong, golfing is, like I said, seems like it's low impact or whatever, but it's really not. And to try to compete with this younger generation, it's tough. So it's unfortunate to see that, but it's really looking like he has a real problem with the opioids that he's taking. So
Yeah, one thing I found really interesting is that, Tiger at 50, he's not ranked in the top 1,000 golfers right now. Was looking at returning to the Ryder Cup as a captain in 2027. Gets in a car accident, and he's the #1 leading story in sports, which really goes to show his impact. I thought that was really interesting. No one cares what John Daly's doing. No one cares. Respectfully, of course, to John Daly fans out there, no one cares. John Daly was an alcoholic, dealt with alcoholism. No one really cared. Tiger Woods gets in an accident, and they had breaking news stories, Juan.
You got to remember the impact before he came on the scene. Like Jack Nicklaus was, on his way out. I mean, this was we're looking back at Jack Nicklaus, being phased out like in the early 90s, I want to say. And then golf kind of like to the average spectator was like a little numb until all of a sudden you see this kid and he's winning and he's beating all these guys and he's looking like Michael Jordan on the golf course.
Yeah.
And then people are starting to be intrigued, and he changed the way people see golf. People, you know, play golf because of him. We saw this for many years, and its impact was so big that it actually benefited the other golfers on the circuit.
Yeah, let me just jump in there,
And
Juan. Let me just jump in there. That's
mhm,
brilliantly said. What Juan's saying, Sean, is that Tiger Woods was an adrenaline injection into golf, not only for the sport, but also for Nike Golf. Nike Golf was
absolutely.
almost nothing. Then Tiger
no,
Woods
it
came
was
on the
nothing.
scene. Nothing, thank you. Tiger Woods came on the scene, and it was an explosion of a youth, black males playing golf, and a whole different generation of golfers. Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we don't hear about the John Daly. John Daly was a really good golfer, but he didn't change the game.
Paradigm
He
shift.
opened up the yeah, he opened up the world of golf to a lot of kids, that look like us,
Hmm.
brown skinned kids that would have never even thought about playing golf. You got your three major sports for us Americans, if you will. You got your basketball, you got your football, you got your baseball.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this guy who is totally dominant in this sport, and then he's wearing Nike. Nike decides to sign him, which is probably the most brilliant move in the history of anything. It's amazing. So, and I mean, just to put it in perspective of how dominant he was, when he was the number one golfer, he was number one ranked in the world. The number two ranked person, I believe, was Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson was closer to the 200 ranked player in the world than he was to Tiger Woods.
Wow, that's
I
right.
really want you to think about that.
Wow.
Put that in perspective. You're number one, and then the guy's number two, he's actually closer to the 200 ranked person. He's nowhere near you. So that's why it's just him, his persona, and who he is in the sport. That's why it's such big news. It's like it
Yes.
would be like Michael Jordan if he had an accident or if something crazy happened with
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
So
He definitely made a lot of news on the airways, and it always is about money, especially for athletics as we transition to the NCAA. Guys, the NCAA is in full blown show me the money mode. We now know that the NIL runs what happens for NCAA, which got me thinking, how important is the budget of an individual team for basketball as we look at March Madness this season to actually winning a championship? We look at teams like Michigan. They spent $10.5 million on their roster. These are things 5 years ago that just wasn't unheard of. Duke, $12 million on their roster. Cameron Boozer is making $2 million in NIL. Juan, how important is NIL spend in reference to winning a championship in men's basketball as we look into March Madness?
It's now the factor because the blue bloods of college basketball they can't just go into your living room and say we're selling Duke, we're selling North Carolina, and you see what North Carolina is going through right now. They're not selling Michigan basketball. They could just woo you with the tradition and all that stuff, and then the kids will just sign up. No, 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 that is not the case anymore. How much money are you gonna pay me? That's what it is. These kids are getting smarter. And by the way, the NCAA, you created this, okay? You created this. You've been taking advantage of the players for years, making money off the jerseys off these kids, and now they're getting everything back. And I'll tell you what though, I mean, I didn't play college basketball, but if I had the time to play college basketball, I should have been living in this era because back in the 90s, it was just underground handshakes and see what happens. I don't know anything about that, but these kids, they have agents, they have parents, and these parents are smart too. They're not just you thinking that they're just yeah, an education. Yeah, the education's nice because you want to get an education. No, man, it's how much money you could provide your family right now, and these kids are getting that bag right now.
Juan didn't say not one lie in his entire diatribe. Listen, these kids don't care about what you used to do. Show me the cash. Sean, Kentucky spent $22 million on their roster and lost in the second round.
right, it's based on what you spend. And to Juan's point, he made a very good point. I mean, the blue bloods can't just come in on reputation. They got to show the money. I mean, think about it. St. John's is a prime example. St. John's, we haven't heard about St. John's since the good old days of the Big East in the 80s with Georgetown and Syracuse, right?
Smullen?
So we had, yeah,
See?
right.
Yep.
Did Patrick Ewing? I mean, come on, let's go. So the NIL money is like, show me the money, and the blue bloods can't compete because now that these other schools that we're not thinking about, they're spending the dough. You mentioned BYU. Tell me, outside of this year, when was the last time you talked about BYU? Let's let's keep it a
Hold.
bean.
No, hold on. I'm
Please.
going to tee you up for it again. Tell them again, Sean, for those that didn't hear you the first time. Go ahead and say the same thing you just said.
I'm just gonna. When was the last time that we've been talking about BYU so much in the last 15, 20 years?
No.
You can't say. Maybe on the football side, I can't even say that. So NIL has made a huge, huge difference. So now you get this guy AJ DeBanza coming to your school, and you're paying him $4 million through the NIL deal, and now they're on national TV every other day. Where did they do that at? BYU is not nowhere near a blue blood type of school, so it's very important. You gotta put the money out. But Kentucky spent that much money and they didn't get the result that they wanted. So it's one of those things you got to be careful with it, but you got to continue to spend the money. You got to put the right players together to
Juan,
do that.
it looked like
And
you
so,
wanted to jump in on that BYU point.
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, think about that. The consensus number one pick in the draft went to BYU. Think about that.
Yeah.
The competitive balance of trying to obtain the best players, they're not just going to the big schools no more. It's how much money you can dish out. And for these college kids, if they feel they can't get the money, moving to the NBA or for an NFL player, they could stick around another year, sign another big deal, get your bag again before you get that rookie minimum. So, I mean, you could collect in college before you're the number one pick in the draft, and you got to sign a rookie deal that may not be as much as the bag you're collecting in college. Think about that. It totally changes how the player thinks about their future. So I don't know what can be done about that. I mean, right now it's just the players have all the power.
And to Juan's point, brilliant point. That's why the transfer portal it's a perfect storm for the player. Because now you can't transfer this many times. Back when we played, think about that, Saif. I know you played, so many games. You can't transfer from one D1 to another without sitting out a year. And then you
Yeah.
only get 4 years. Your eligibility starts as soon as you walk on the campus when we
Yeah.
played. Now you could flip flop. I know a guy that played here in Vegas. The guy, I watched him. He was the same age as my daughter, and this guy's getting ready to transfer another school. This will be like his fourth or fifth school. But I'm not going to tell him not to do it. Get the bag,
Get the
young man.
bag.
Go
Get it.
get it. So,
Yeah.
because chances are him making the NBA are slim to none. But if they're going to give you a few $1,000,000 at each school you go to, why not? And you can set yourself up for life.
You guys both make a great point. AJ, who is, as Juan said, the consensus number one draft for the NBA, we all thought he would have been at Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, or Kentucky, right?
Right.
For him to arrive at a BYU, where are they in Idaho? Where's BYU?
They're in
Utah, right?
Provo, Utah.
They're in Provo,
Utah.
I think it's
Utah.
Provo, Utah.
There's one guy every 4 miles, square 4 miles in Provo, Utah. There's no black people in Utah. He didn't care. He's going there to get his cash. $4 million is there, and I love him for it. I think they got ejected in the second or third round. Didn't matter. It doesn't affect his draft status. I just think that if you're a team, you have to cut a check. If you're not cutting a check, no one cares. And to your point, Juan, it doesn't matter. I don't care that you're Duke. I don't care that you're North Carolina. North Carolina's gone. To
Yeah.
Juan's point, brilliantly, but I don't want to step on your toes, you could woo me by saying, play at the place that Michael Jordan and James Worthy played. Vince Carter wore this jersey. Ed Cota wore this jersey. Now, I don't care if Ed Cota went to my house and painted my car. Show me
Nope.
the check.
No.
Yes.
Just make sure the check clears. That's all I care about. That's
Make
all
sure the
these kids
check
care
clears.
about. Look at
That's all they care
Darius
about.
Acuff Jr. from Arkansas. He just signed a deal with
Facts.
Reebok. He just signed a historic deal with Reebok. And so, I
Facts.
mean, and I'm telling you, don't be surprised. I mean, he's just the first, and this is with Reebok. Wait until Nike gets in. Wait until Under Armour gets in. They start signing these kids to shoe deals. They're going to lock them in, and they're going to take the money.
Let's just stop pretending that we're better than, we're protecting the sanctity of education, because we're not. We're really not. We're all about the bag. And if we're talking about the bag, guys, let's go ahead and transfer to our final point of the day, which is the CBA. The WNBA signed a landmark and historic deal for their collective bargaining agreement after lots of running around, after sleeping on negotiating floors, after flamed in the media on both sides. They figured it out and hashed it out before the end of the deadline, which is what happens a lot with negotiations. And I feel like it was understated how big of a deal this was. The WNBA is going to increase their salary caps from 1.5 million to 7 million, a 460% increase, a minimum salary of about 300,000, and most importantly, they found a way to pay retired players up to, I believe, 100 grand or so if they're a 12-year vet, which I thought was so thoughtful to think of those who paved the way for you. Sean, we'll start this with you. What did you think of the WNBA coming up with something that works for not only the players now, the players who came before them, and the players to come?
And I think it was simply amazing. It was a long time coming, and they, all the, especially the women that set the foundation. There were so many great players that started this league. You got Lisa Leslie, you got Rebecca Lobo, you got Teresa Witherspoon, you got all of these. You got Cynthia Cooper, 4 straight championships. Cheryl Swoops, 4 straight
Staley.
championships. They, Don Staley, yeah, they set the foundation for this, and so to have them reach back and say, you know what, here's thank you for doing that, because the league, and if you want to take, you want to take a look at it, the WNBA now at 30 years old, and where the NBA I think is pushing 80 years old if they're not already 80 years old. Look at where the NBA was at 30 and where the WNBA is at 30 years old.
Hmm?
It's incredible the difference. And so I'm very happy for these ladies, because I actually saw on a different podcast what they used to get paid, and it was ridiculous. And
It's a
they
joke.
were playing for the
It's
absolute
terrible.
love.
It was
I mean,
absolutely terrible.
the
Yeah.
draft pick, they were getting 40 grand, and then the only way they could really make some money, they'd had to max out and their 401k and put money in that just so they can have some money for the future. And so that would take about half their check. So they're walking home with less than 20 grand or whatever it is. So now they can actually make a living. And the nice thing about it, I think it helps with the women that are in the league that, they want to start a family. Now they have enough money. They can, if they're with someone, they could start a
In
family,
the
and then
CBA.
they can,
Mhm.
yeah. And then they have, so they have the time off, and they won't get, and then they also, I think I read in it, if they do get pregnant, now the teams have to talk to these players about, okay, well, we need an open spot since you're not going to
Yeah,
play,
let me jump
so
in
they
there.
have to
Let me jump
discuss
in
the
right there.
training. So yeah,
Family First Protections teams must now obtain a pregnant player's consent before she can be traded. Sean, these protections
that's
are they're
huge.
just landmark. One, I think I was talking to Sean about this. One of the things that irritated me was the belief that this wasn't deserving for these women's players, that it was some sort of handout. The WNBA as a league has been around for over 20 years, and the NBA is a part owner. They put in a lot of money to start it up. I believe they have a 44% stake. No one's chasing bad investments here. My question to you is this not now the time to invest in women's sports when we see the salaries going up, we see ownership going up, we see TV eyeball ratings going up?
Yeah, the risk is worth the reward. And there's a reason why ownership or different types of billionaires are getting in, like the new team, the Valkyries, I believe, up north, for example. I mean, the money that was poured in there. And I know that a lot of pundits came through, they had a negative side of this where the league is really still operating at a loss. The why are they considering these concessions? And I wouldn't say it was a concession. I actually credit the union that they actually fought for this. Understand that the league minimum was $40,000. I was making more money than the league than a professional basketball player.
In the
It's
summer.
unbelievable. In the
Yeah.
summer, I
Yeah.
mean, come on. It's you gotta be you gotta be reasonable here. And I'll tell you what though, I mean, Caitlin Clark came in at just the right time
Right
before
time.
the negotiation because it jump started exactly what they did. It gave them the momentum to actually reach the deal that they got. And I know everybody highlighted obviously the how the supermax is now at 1.4. So
Yeah.
Asia Wilson, be prepared to sign one of those.
Yep.
Sure.
And what was not talked about, along with the family planning benefits, the housing benefit is also a big deal because it's
Yep.
different getting an apartment in New York than getting an apartment in Indiana, for example. And there
Preach.
are
Sure.
benefits to that as well. So I mean, I think that the players definitely, reached a monumental deal by getting this, and I think they're going to benefit. Look, and owners of sports teams operate sometimes at a loss, and you know what billionaires do in order to operate when they go through losses. Please, I mean, the league is going to be fine. It's going to take some time. Yeah, they can say, that the owners are losing money here, but they find a way. And I
No,
think the
Juan,
league is
let me
only going to
jump in there.
thrive.
That's a
Hmm.
fantastic point. You're both making great points. Living in LA, I understood studio math. Okay, so when we talk about accounting math, films always lose money, in air quotes, right? So you see the box office movie did $1 billion. Somehow the studio writes it off as a loss because that's what they do. So I never believed the concept that these teams were losing money. Now, sure, you lose money sometimes, sure, but you don't lose money all the time, or else no one would be investing in the league. Investors don't invest in losing properties. That's just not what happens. You wanted to say something, Juan. Go ahead.
Preach.
Yeah, no, I agree. So there's an opportunity here. And I think that there's some billionaires that are willing to invest not only in women's basketball, but women's soccer. So those things are happening. And it all depends if they get the right exposure. And if they do that, people are going to come and watch because they're interested. If you like basketball, after the NBA season is over, you're going to watch some good WNBA action. You got to give it
Yeah.
a shot. Don't
Yeah.
knock it unless you try it.
Yeah. But to your point, the marketing's an important arm, Sean. I don't think we've seen a marketing onslaught, and in some ways, the NCAA women's really helped to market what would be coming for WNBA. When we saw Caitlin Clark and some of the other girls go pro, we were going to follow, right? We were going to follow their professional journey. So one fed the other. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I mean, you and I had the conversation where we knew more women's basketball players on the NCAA level than we did men's.
Yes.
As far as the stars, we could run off who the stars were at the time, and so it's an exciting brand of basketball. People don't really, they got to tap into it. I'm a season ticket holder for the Aces, been since they moved here in I think 2018 or so, and I love the games. The games are great, and I've actually been able to energy and been able to watch them win. I think what's four? Is it three or four chips?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, and it's incredible the energy that those games provide, and it's only going to grow. And the thing is something really losing money if you've got billionaires investing and you're expanding?
Like we're not that stupid.
You know,
Exactly.
Right. Right.
you
Sean,
know what I'm saying? So
we look at that and we look at what the future holds for this women's game. Right. So now you get this CBA agreement done, locked. So now you look at
right,
players like your Hannah Hidalgos, your AZ Fuds, your Flaugers, your Jujus.
That's what I was going to say.
These are all the women that are going to be in the league in the next 3 to 4 years. It's good. The league's only getting better. Like these players are going to push the league into unforeseen territory. These are girls that I follow. I have a Juju shirt. Her game is nuts. I think Azzy Fudge jump
bananas.
shots is one of the most beautiful jump shots I've ever seen in my life. Like it's a beautiful thing to watch. So I'm so glad that they got this done and that they're going to be able to build a solid ground for the future of what that brings. Guys, final thoughts before we get out of here. Juan, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned all those great young, women's basketball players. Juju Watkins, I'm telling you, USC basketball hasn't been all that great lately, but people show up when she was healthy. People showed up for this woman, and they got another kid, a freshman, Davidson. That kid's another good player too.
She's
So,
Yeah.
incredible, man. She's
Yeah.
and I'm
incredible.
wait until these kids get into the WNBA. Asia Wilson has got a shoe deal. Sabrina Ionescu's got a shoe deal. Juju Watkins, I'm telling you, Nike better be ready because I mean, I'm telling you, she's gonna sell. She's gonna sell. She's great.
So, Sean, final words.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just and to piggyback on what you said, Juan, I think with this with the WNBA and what they're doing, I think it's really going to help the NIL deals on the college side for these women because they're driving the women's game so much, and the WNBA now has got this money coming in. Now these colleges are going to have to drop the bag for these women because they're gonna give them. They're getting them all these eyeballs and this viewership. It's really great for women's sports, and I'm telling you, man, people, you got to tap in. You got to tap in. It's a great game to watch. They outside of them dunking, it's a great game. They play basketball and it's great. If you love basketball, you got to do it. So
God,
kudos to the WNBA.
God forbid God forbid the NCAA have to share some of their advertising revenue with the players they've been beating over the head for the last 50 years. God forbid.
God,
Right. I'm going
God
to say this
forbid
on the
that.
way out. I'm going to say this on the way out. In today's environment, I can't even imagine what the Duke versus Michigan series would have produced and how much the Fab Five players would have been getting paid in today's NIL environment. I mean, we can't go backwards in time, but I just know that would be crazy. Guys, that's our time for this week. It always goes so fast when it's with your friends. Guys, remember to share this podcast with your friends, especially your enemies. You guys are interacting on the clips, but hey, listen to the whole thing. We got a lot to say. For Juan, for Sean, we will see you next week, and we will catch you on the flip side.
With all those monsters on that team,
Yeah,
man,
I
you
walk
deserve a
away.
lot of credit for that, man.
He's
I
got the
appreciate that. It
ring.
was.
That's all the
I
credit you
appreciate
get.
it.
But you don't
That's
understand,
every-
dude. Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony.
I don't
No,
understand.
man. College basketball will never have something like that ever again, dude.
No.
That big three,
No.
you can't see,
Oh my
you can't have all those monsters on the floor at the same time.
No.
You just come on,
Man.
man.